stop doing what isn't working. Fall is in the air, and let's talk sandwiches.
Welcome to The Hopefulist, a daily talk show hosted by veteran broadcaster Wendy McClure. Join Wendy each day as she shares her life lessons that transformed her from perpetual pessimist to the ultimate hopefulist. The perfect morning show to get you caught up on the day's top stories while sharing insights that will lead to positive transformation and bring out the hopefulist in you. For more inspiration, visit hopefulist.com. And now, here's your host and hopefulist, Wendy McClure.
Hello and welcome to The Hopefulist. Thank you for joining me today, Tuesday, September 15th, 2020. Today's quote, much in line with today's blog post, your happiness is worth doing things differently. That's right. We're going to talk a little bit about what isn't working in your life anymore and what we need to do to change that. Get on a new path, a new track. I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit. Wow, have you been outside this morning? It's 50 degrees. Why do we go from like one extreme to the other? It was very cool over the weekend, I believe Saturday morning when we got up. And then Sunday, bam, humidity was right back. This morning, very cool. In fact, I think it's only gone up to about 70 or 72 today here at the Jersey Shore. My plan is to take a little bike ride after I'm done the podcast and it actually gets light out. Yeah, the days are really getting shorter. I noticed it last night. It was about 7:45 and it was completely dark out. Oh, it's so depressing to me. I love the long days. But there is something really cool about the cooler weather. And wear some sweaters, wrap yourself up in a nice comfy sweatshirt, get out those cool boots that you haven't been able to wear since like March or April. I don't know. I don't really have many places to dress up to go to anymore. But it's always nice to kind of be wrapped up in something really comfy, you know? Got a couple of cool sweatshirts for this year. Some new sweaters I've been dying to try out. But I will miss summer. There is no doubt about that. I don't mind fall. The only thing that really upsets me about fall is that I know that winter follows very closely. It's hard to adjust. I'm a summer girl, no doubt about that. Some disturbing news this morning about the Macy's Day Parade officially canceled. There will not be a parade going down the street. They will have a virtual event. They're saying it's going to take place in about a 1-block period, a 1-block area in New York, probably right in front of Macy's. So, yeah, we're still losing out on a lot of stuff this year. COVID it's just knocking us down. It's just one of those things. Speaking of COVID, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. A friend of mine here in the neighborhood, her nephew has been playing in the U.S. Open golf. Been doing really well. It's his first year. And his name is Scotty Scheffler. And he'd been doing really, really well. And she texted us as a group last night to let us know that he tested positive for COVID with no symptoms and had to forfeit from the game. However, the good news is she told us that he was named Rookie of the Year. So, some good and some bad news. But I know that everybody was, really into watching this guy, and he has only just begun. Only just begun. In some television news, Milo Ventimiglia, you know who that is. Jack Pearson from This Is Us. Apparently, and I just read this yesterday, very excited, will be guest starring on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. If you have not seen The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel, I urge you to watch it. Amazon Prime. It's from Amy Sherman Palladino, who was the creator of The Gilmore Girls, who, by the way, gave Milo Ventimiglia his first shot as a regular on a series. Yes, that's right. He was Jess on the Gilmore Girls. And now he says he can't wait to get back and work with his old crew again. They said that the timing is going to be a little tricky because they want him to either, I think, grow facial hair that will place him in the 50s because the show takes place in the 1950s. We'll see. The ending of the third season was a little upsetting. I'll put it that way. I was a little distraught at the end of the third season. So I'm not sure when any of the new shows are premiering. Now, I did hear This Is Us is premiering in November. There are some shows that are premiering this month. I've seen them. I've seen ads for them. Still dealing with this cough, so I apologize. So the new shows will be coming on. Now, some of the talk shows premiered this week. Some of them premiered last week. So things are, coming back on, which is good because now with the cooler weather, we will spend a little bit more time watching some television. On to today's topic. Yeah, yesterday, apparently a National Hoagie Day. So I wanted to hear from you. Do you call it a hoagie or do you call it a sub? Now, I grew up in the Philadelphia area, and that is the home of the hoagie. I have always called it a hoagie. And now that Wawa is branching out into other states and really becoming a popular choice for people all across the country, they call it a hoagie. So I think they're popularizing the term hoagie more than anybody else ever has. I have to mention John's response, who was pretty funny. He says it's a sub because it's in the shape of a submarine. What the double H hockey sticks is a hoagie. Yeah, I don't know where they came up with the name, but it's definitely a Philadelphia term. And most people from Philly will call it a hoagie. There are always some transplants or what have you. Like I said, it's becoming more and more acceptable to be called a hoagie. Now, Jim says in Philly it's a hoagie. Everyone else, it is a sub, which is short for substitute because they can't do it like Philly. I've had sandwiches that call themselves subs as opposed to hoagies, and there really is a subtle difference to me. Usually it's the bread. Usually the bread on a sub is not as good as the bread on a hoagie. Just my opinion. I'm going to say predominantly people in my little survey are calling it a hoagie, but just by like a smidge. Like half the people say sub, half the people say hoagie. Jennifer says, I'll always call it a hoagie. Down here in South Carolina, they say sub. I try to correct them, though. I'm sure that goes over well. Elaine says it depends on where you live. In PA, it's a hoagie. Here in Florida, it is a sub. Marcy says, it was a sub where I grew up, but I'm in hoagie country now. Yeah, it's definitely a Philly term. So, pretty even. I think hoagie edged out sub slightly. Not much. Just by a little bit. So, have yourself a hoagie for National Hoagie Day, even though it is Taco Tuesday. Well, Hoagie Day was yesterday. We had a hoagie. Oh, no, I didn't have a hoagie. I had a meatball sub. Now, that is a sub. You don't call it. It's not a meatball hoagie. Because hoagies are cold cuts. Nobody ever told me this. I just know it. So on to today's blog post. We want you to drop what isn't working. I'm talking about persistence all this month. Just as important as keeping up with things that will bring you closer to the life of your dreams is not doing things that drain you or, frankly, just don't serve you. We all tend to have habits and routines that really don't help us toward our goal, but we stick with them because it can be difficult to start a new routine or create new habits. But it's something that needs to be done to start making progress toward the life you really want to live. One of the greatest examples of this is what time I used to get up for work. I've always worked extremely early hours, so I would sleep until the last possible moment. It's kind of like hitting the snooze button one more time. I literally gave myself just enough time to get in the shower, grab a coffee, and jump in the car. If I had to scrape the windshield or get gas, that's it. I was late. And I had a job that I had to be live on the air at a specific time. So if I was late, oh yeah, I was in trouble. One day it just occurred to me, what if I set my alarm for 5 minutes earlier? How much will 5 minutes less sleep really make in my life? What will the difference of 5 minutes make? So I did it. And it added so much. Instead of being super stressed first thing in the morning, now I was relaxing a tad, and I knew that I would get to work on time. Because, I had like a half-hour drive to work. So that entire half hour, I'm like, oh my God, I'm going to be late. Oh my God, I'm going to be late. So much stress first thing in the morning. It's just not the greatest way to start out your day. This is also one of the reasons why I try to convince everyone to give up the snooze button. It sets you up to make very difficult decisions first thing in the morning when you aren't really awake yet. Of course, we all want to go back to sleep. But it doesn't usually serve the purposes of getting our day started. Waiting until the last minute to do things often gives us so much additional stress, and it's just not worth it. Is there a side project that you've been wanting to work on, but you can't seem to make the time? Do you often turn the TV on as soon as you get home and then get engrossed? Maybe keep the TV off until you work on your project first. Maybe you have a habit of grabbing something to eat and you like to watch TV while you eat. I get it. I'm there with you. I like to watch TV while I eat, but maybe just a couple of times a week, maybe just even once a week, eat your dinner in silence, and maybe it will direct your thoughts towards your project, and you'll come up with better ideas on how to implement them. Or put your phone or tablet across the room until you have finished what you want to complete. One of my biggest distractions is books. I get into a really good book, and I don't want to do anything but read until I have finished that book. I've been trying not to... I haven't been reading as many novels lately because it's just such a distraction in my life. There are so many distractions in today's world. You have to be the one to minimize them. You have to prioritize what is important to you. If you don't, no one else will. Our creative juices are literally dying with all the tech and the amount of instant gratification we have these days. We never have time to be just bored and just be still. That is when our thoughts and ideas come to us. We need to make sure we aren't turning into zombies, just watching other people's lives, be it on the phone, tablet, or TV. We have to actively live our own lives every single day. Is there a person in your life who is draining you? Is there a friend or family member that doesn't do anything but make demands on you? Distance yourself from people like this. They will only add to your stress. They're not good for your well-being. You know who I'm talking about? Maybe that friend you've had since high school and you just can't seem to break ties. You think about all they had done for you in the past, but forget it was over 10 years ago. I'm not saying to just drop people who don't go out of their way for you. What I'm saying is, if they make you feel bad or expect more than you can give, then you should have less exposure to them. It's hard to pull back on a relationship, especially if it's a family member, but sometimes it is the only option to bring peace into your life. If someone is holding you responsible for their happiness, remind them and yourself that isn't your job. What if you're trying to ditch your terrible eating habits? You need to set yourself up for success. You have a habit of hitting a fast food joint on the way home from work because you never have food in the house. Well, by good golly, get some fast, easy food in the fridge. Do a little shopping, a little food prep, so you can just pop something in the microwave, air fryer, oven, whatever, when you get home. Yes, food prep is a pain. I know. But so is going up a pant size. Yet again. I treated myself to a head of cauliflower for my salad this week because it was on sale. Man, it's beautiful. My husband brought it home. I was like, look at that. It's white clouds, all fluffy. Yeah, I get a little into my cauliflower. But busting that thing up into pieces from being whole is a huge pain. But so worth it. I know I sound a little too in love with my cauliflower, right? It does seem like our favorite things take a little more work, but just like in life, it is usually worth the work. Set yourself up for success. Get rid of those nasty habits that are making life more difficult. Take a look at your regular routine. What are some things that are just not serving you anymore? There may have been a time and place for that practice, but it's no longer valuable in your life. Don't keep doing something because it used to work. Take the time to retrain yourself, to build new habits that will take you where you want to go in this one life that you have. It's Taco Tuesday. Tomorrow we'll be talking about the danger of being complacent. We will get into the mindset that keeps you stuck. So I want you to go on out there and be your big old badass self and always know that I'm cheering you on.
Thank you for listening to The Hopefulist, hosted by Wendy McClure. For more inspiration, please visit hopefulist.com. Thanks, and we'll see you tomorrow on The Hopefulist.
And grab a taco.